to make sure that you're that you're writing to us properly, that you don't use text language, that you use capitalization, punctuation properly. That's also imperative when you're writing to your principals. Sometimes principals or teachers will ask you to send an email when you call the schools. They'll say, could you send that to us in writing? So you want to make sure that your communication that you start sending is professional communication.
Yes, we're assuming that from this day forward in all of the classes you're taking here in the College of Education and Human Services and on campus, that you are beginning your professional career. And that's the next part, is professionalism.
Oh, did you want me to talk about this?
Oh, sure.
Oh, sure. Professionalism. Well, I don't know. What do you want? Professionalism. We expect you to be on time for class. Class starts at 3:05 and ends at 4:05. It's really important. We will have guest speakers in class. One of the things that we do a lot in class is we bring in people to talk about the different programs that we have. So you aren't going to hear just the two of us talk at you the entire time. We will have other people come in, so we expect you to be in class on time. We expect you to be here for the entire class period and not leave. We expect that while we are talking to you that you are not on your technology. You wait until we ask you to open your laptops or get on your cell phones to participate during those discussions. When you go out to the schools, you are representing NKU. You are also representing yourself. So we ask that you dress appropriately and that you conduct yourself in a professional manner.
When you're out and about in the name of NKU and yourself, you look like a teacher, act like a teacher from the very beginning, and you should be hard to distinguish from the people that work there. And teachers do have a little higher standard than students when it comes to that. And by the way, in terms of both professional ethics and professionalism, you're under the honor code now, and you're actually, from the first time you're in the schools, you're under the professional ethics codes that govern all teaching in each state. You can be held to a much higher standard than the average population, and that will continue through your career. You could actually, when you're a teacher, if you have multiple DUIs, you can actually be dismissed from teaching for it. Now you can't be, it's on your own time. You can't be dismissed from probably many other jobs for having it, but as a teacher, the courts have said you can be held to a higher standard. And we will talk about that during the course of this term. If you do have things in your past that you're concerned about, we'll tell you how you go and check and see if there are going to be any issues so that would possibly impact your getting certified. And we'll go through that in detail in the class as well. So from day one, from now on, in this class and others, you're a professional. Start that way. Okay. Well, that's interesting. I thought I fixed all of that.
Is that a new word?
Yeah, I thought I changed it. But anyway, I think we're just about there. Okay, yeah. So I always like to start out the class. I'm an optimist, okay? And I'll have to say that even though life deals out some difficult things sometimes, I always believe we have a choice about how we're going to handle it. And I'm very much into positive psychology. You'll hear a lot about that over the course of this term. And positive psychology says that we have a choice. We can deal with any situation either in a positive way or a negative way. And we can find happiness in virtually anything. One of the things that we find out from positive psychology that you can increase your happiness level is by doing some very simple things. And so I want to start out, and this is a tomorrow assignment for you. Tomorrow I want you to do at least two things. One thing I want you to do is, most of you drove to get here, right? Okay, you can do it today or tomorrow, but I want you to, when someone needs to get in, okay, when you're driving and they need to get in, I want you to go out of your way to make sure you let them get in. All right? You don't kind of run them off the road, but you actually go out of your way to say, oh yeah, come on, get in, it's your turn, take a turn. Because that actually changes the way you deal with your driving. The second thing I want you to do, and this is your assignment for tomorrow, I want you to do all three of these tomorrow. So I want you to do 3 unanticipated acts of kindness tomorrow. All right, you can do them with anybody, anytime you want to, but you got to do 3. And I can't check up on you. I'm going to ask you to give me your pledge that you'll do this. But I want you to do one thing tomorrow, and you can start today. It could be over a 24-hour period. I want you to do one thing that is totally unanticipated for someone very close to you. Could be spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, parent, grandparent, uncle, aunt, cousin, good friend. But for no good reason, and out of the clear blue, I want you to do something nice for them. The second one I want you to do is something nice for someone who you just know. Okay? And then the third one, and this is a hard one, the third one I want you to do is something nice for a complete stranger, for just no good reason. Now, what I want you to do is, I want you obviously to observe what happens to the person that you do the thing for. But more importantly, I want you to do something called metacognition. I want you to look at yourself, and when you do them, I want you to see how you feel about it, and how does it make you, how does it make you feel to do it? I want you to watch the way that you react. Watch your emotions, watch the way you feel. So I want you to try those. I give this assignment often to people, and I did an in-service not too long ago with some principals, and I said, okay, what I want you to do is to try this, and tonight was a multi-day workshop, and I said, tonight I want you to go home and do something, on your way home, nice for someone. And this one fellow who was a middle school principal, he was actually an ex-Marine. He was a drill sergeant, actually, and he never smiled. And he came up to me after I gave the assignment, and he said, sir? I said, yes. He said, I don't want to do that, sir. And I said, well, just try it. I want you to see what happens. And he said, well, I don't know what to do, sir. And so I said, well, are you married? Yes, sir. 27 years, same woman. I said, all right, on the way home, stop by Walmart, buy a big bunch of flowers for $5, take them home, tell your wife you love her, and see what happens. He said, oh, never done that before. And I said, okay, well, I think it's a bad time, okay? So anyway, he said, oh, okay. And so the next day he came back, and he walked in, and he was kind of just shaking his head. And I said, well, what happened? He said, sir? He said, I went home. I went by Walmart on the way home, bought the big bunch, $5. Got home, rang the doorbell. My wife opened the door. I handed her the flowers, said, dear, I love you. She took the flowers. She threw the flowers in my face. She slammed the door. She ran into the bedroom, jumped on the bed, and started bawling. And so I went in there, and I said, well, dear, what's the matter? And she said, this has been the worst day of my entire life. She said, I had a bad day at work. Your new dog did that on the floor over there. Kid got sent home from school. Dinner got burned. Laundry's still to be done. And now, to top it all off, my fine, upstanding husband of 27 years comes home drunk. So, you never know what the reaction is going to be. Okay, it's question time. Does anybody have questions, first of all?
Well, before we get questions,
Oh.
do you want to have
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
our two?
Yes, Jessica. We have, by all means, we have our 2 recent students, and we asked them if they would tell us one thing that they found from last semester's class that they thought was the most interesting, enjoyable, meaningful to them. So, who's first?
Kevin.
Kevin's first. Kevin.
Let's stand up.
Yeah, stand up and... You want the microphone?
No, I can.
Okay. All right, face that way.
The most meaningful thing probably was obviously observations. I went to a parochial school all my life, and I was always scared of public schools. I don't know why. It just seems real busy, real unorganized. So when I went in them, they definitely changed my perception of different kinds of schools. So.
Okay, thank you. All right, Jessica.
Well, my name is Jessica, and I guess my favorite part about the class was also the observations and the personal improvement plan. I kind of forgot about that. It helped me to become more organized, and I feel like as a teacher, you really need to work on that more than a lot of other things. So
Okay.
that's about it.
Thank you very much. Very good. All right. Any other questions questions about anything so far? This is on Blackboard. Syllabus is on Blackboard. Actually, the schedule of everything we're going to do for the entire term is on Blackboard. And yes.
Did you say that mentoring would not count for extra credits?
You can, if you have we can work that out individually. We actually had a formal mentoring program last term, and we're not doing it formally. But yes, you can do mentoring, but we'd have to, you check it off with us and arrange it. If you have your device, smartphone, laptop, you can go to Blackboard, and let me show you where it is.